Welcome everybody to the City Brew Tours Beer Club, CBTBC. It's me, your host, Jonathan, for another month of fantastic beers. Fantastic time hanging out. Another great cities actually, with beer from multiple parts of Colorado. But I'm not here alone this month. I do have a fantastic co-host helping me out this month with Colorado, and I've got Chad. Come on over here, Chad. There he is.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Jonathan. Hello, everyone.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I was I know we're supposed to have a guest that didn't show, so I pinched hit. I was about to clean out an office, so
So
instead of
you're
cleaning out the
welcome.
office, I am now
Drinking beer.
drinking beer.
I
So
made so I
what a better way to spend the day, the
I feel
evening.
like you should say thank you then. You're welcome for getting you out of it is dreary, there's like here in New York it's snowing right now, so beer is much better than cleaning an office.
It
But
is.
with that, before we even just like go in to start talking about Colorado and the weather, we should start drinking a beer. So we have some fantastic beers from all over Colorado, from the heavy hitters of we've got Denver, we've got Boulder, we've got Fort Collins we've had before, but we're gonna start off with our friends over at WeldWerks Brewing, with their Guava Lime Gose, because the two featured beers, and we can talk about this, Chad, because I want to know your opinion on this as well, is when you're doing a flight and you have IPAs and sours, there's always that hesitation of order of which one goes first. Um,
Which one goes up first, you mean?
oh, Goose first. Yeah, there it is. So I felt like this one I had to make that call. We're gonna go with that Goza. You got that nice lime. Gonna be hopefully we get a little bit of that salt in there. This is exactly the color you want when you're talking about, a guava lime Goza. It's nice. You get that little bit of a haze to it. You get that
So I
nice
was
aroma.
I didn't drink a lot of water today, and this is essentially, I always equate Gozes to Gatorade because they have electrolytes, and
Yeah,
so I'm gonna be rehydrated
of
from
course.
this beer because it uses a sea salt and coriander, which is like the traditional
Yeah.
Goza. So cheers to
And
hydration
of course.
with
Cheers. A
beer.
guava Gatorade. There you go.
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah.
Gose is actually it is actually one of my favorite styles of
Is it
beer.
really?
I don't think you know that.
I didn't know that.
Uh, but that is it's just such a crushable, delicious, refreshing beer.
Oh yeah. No, this one, and I feel like we made the right call doing this one first over the
Oh yeah.
Belgian IPA, which I know, for those, for the featured ones, we're gonna have the ones that are on the insert. If you lost your insert, it does happen. So we are gonna drink the WeldWerks Guava Lime Goza, and then our second one, we're gonna actually feature a newer brewery. Both these breweries been around 2015, 2016, but one that's a little bit lesser known is Bruz Brewing, where they do specifically Belgian styles only, which is, I've noticed that's been coming like a big trend for a lot of younger breweries of let's just focus in on these Belgian styles. But I wanted to also not only incorporate kind of feature one of their beers, but also it's a Belgian IPA, which I always find very interesting because you don't see them often. I've had a few, and I've had them from like, the big ones from like Le Chouffe and other places. Um, but to have one that's Colorado, kind of that's their jam. Um, we're gonna enjoy that. So that's the thing is like, do you do an IPA or sour first? I feel like in this case we made the right call, but what's your
This isn't like
normal
too, they call it a sour beer, but for me, like Goses aren't super
tart?
sour. They're not like Berliner Weisses or something that has like Brett in it, like Brettanomyces. So like for me, like this is definitely number one versus
Oh yeah.
a 7% Belgian
Belgian
IPA,
IPA. Yeah, 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 for sure.
which is, I remember my first Belgian IPA I actually remember it pretty vividly. It was like a Stone Cali Belgique, and that was like the first time I ever had it. I was up in, I think, Burlington, just like hanging out with some my friends, and they brought this Cali Belgique, and I was like, what is this craziness? This was like pre New England IPA. This would Belgian IPAs were around way before New England IPAs. And I feel like this was one of the first iterations of an IPA, like
Yeah.
an American IPA that they kind of not bastardized, but like they changed and made it their own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, American or IPAs in general didn't actually start in the US, even though I would argue that United States, that is the one style we have perfected. And like that's what we're known for out of any other style besides the American lager, but that's another thing.
I don't know.
Uh
In
but
English IPA is also a delicious
100%.
IPA.
Yeah, and they are great, and they've started over there. There's controversy as to when they actually started, and all the stories. We've been over that on this podcast way too
The
many times.
Dan, that you're the Cali Belgique doesn't, I don't even know. It's not made anymore. I had no idea. I just
Oh,
assumed that was the first Belgian IPA that I ever tasted. So uh crazy. It must have been a while back that I had that.
which Stone, if it was Stone, I mean they still make really good IPAs, and they're still crushing it. But it is always good to see them kind of try different
And if
things.
yeah, and if you go to Stone, it's also they have a very cool brewery where there's just like the giant gargoyle on the wall, and it's super fun. But this beer is absolutely delicious.
I'm
Not
I,
It's not overly guava, it's not overly lime, like any
no,
kind of clawing sweetness or tartness. It's just
honestly, it tastes like
they
Gatorade.
call it a dialed in beer, and it is 100% a dialed
100.
in beer. And WeldWerks, I mean, they're a pretty well known brewery. They make some
Yeah.
awesome beer. Definitely can't
No,
get it in Massachusetts where I'm.
unfortunately, no. But yeah, no, I mean, and WeldWerks, they've been around 2016, so, kind of 2015. So they're hitting that this year, they're hitting that decade, which for a lot of breweries, that's a big milestone, which we're seeing that less and less, unfortunately. But, hit those 10 years. I've had quite a few different WeldWerks beers over the years. But they kind of obviously they're hitting a lot of times they're hitting those IPAs, but they kind of go all over the board. Anything from Hefeweizens to sours to stouts. We have their
Very
milk
nice.
stout. So I mean they kind of try a little bit of everything. And I haven't really found anything of theirs that's like, it's fine. Like it's all really good, and they're just having fun with it. And I think that's kind of the thing about why, featuring Colorado as a in beer box, we've done it a couple times now, is always fun because there's a lot of really good breweries in Colorado. There's a
Number four in the country of the most breweries per capita. I think 468 breweries in Colorado.
which is still, I mean, Colorado's not that big, and I would probably argue that most of those are in three cities. Like it's only split between Boulder, Denver, and Fort Collins, and Fort Collins and Denver are so close. So you could sometimes I know the breweries of like Crooked Stave that we've featured in the past, like they had both locations like 20 miles apart. Like it's close. But I would say
I feel
they're
like
all,
the box was kind of like a ode to history and what Colorado is known for. Because I know we had Left Hand in there.
yeah,
We had Dales, which is just
you
like you
gotta,
think Colorado, you think, but then we can show off like the difference between the double and
yeah,
Dales, which is now their new school.
yeah.
Um, beer, and I don't know, the one beer that I had never had before and I was just like blown away by in this box was the left hand
You've
peanut
never had it
butter.
before?
I never had that
Oh,
before.
it's so good.
And I had very low expectations just because for me, I don't typically gravitate to the sweet like stouts or porters that are have some kind of like flavor
Yeah.
additions to it because they always are just so overpowering on the flavor side.
But
So
this one is just balanced
they
just
dialed
right.
that, they
Yeah.
dialed it in, and I was I know Left Hand makes like they are the you think milk stout like they are the traditional
Yeah.
style of milk stout. Like if you look at like the uh um BJCP, like the beer judging, and they
Oh yeah.
look for traditional like milk stout, like
They're
hands down
featured. Yeah.
for 20 years probably they've been they've had
Yeah.
that category, which is just incredible to me to have one brewery to be this to have this flagship beer that has stood the test of time for the milk stout um made.
And and like I've had a lot of like peanut butter milk stouts especially, and you know there's been some that are a little more well known than others because you have like Belching Beaver, and then obviously like Evil Twin does has tried them. And what I've noticed, same with like when you're doing sours, there's like five different ways you can sour a beer. There's like four or five different ways you can make a peanut butter milk stout. You can use peanut butter flavor, which we all know how that goes. Peanut butter powder, which I've utilized, and it works, but it does create a weird mouthfeel because you get the chalkiness on there. You can use actual peanut butter, which is very difficult to work with because of the fat content.
Sure, yeah.
Or you can actually use like peanut butter, like Reese's or peanut butter cups, in there as well. Um, I don't remember on this one exactly which one they do. I have to double check, but it doesn't have that mouthfeel, doesn't like it's just enough of that like peanut butter essence, I like to call it in this one. That's like, oh yeah, that's good. That's
And
that's good.
they still has that dialed in milk
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
stout.
It's
So
creamy.
it's just
Yeah.
that perfect blend. So again, I think that was my favorite beer
And if you
in
can ever get this one on
in the
draft or
box.
nitro, it's really good.
Oh, so you're in New York. You have more
I
access
know, I know.
to beer because people bring specialty beers in from
All over.
and I also don't leave the house anymore because I have
Well, yeah.
two children. So
Well,
that's besides the point.
yeah. It also doesn't help that I also work at a craft beer bar where we get left hand milk stout on draft like every couple months.
You
Um,
get the peanut butter too?
yeah, we did. We had the peanut butter a couple months ago. We went through it in I think 5 days. Like, because
It's
everyone was just like, it's so good. It's so good.
it's so good.
It's so good. But not we don't just have the stout on there. We got everything. But Colorado's not just, even though they are known for their beer, right? And they are like, the Great American Beer Fest is,
Of course.
kind of, if it's that's what they're known for, I would say. But Colorado doesn't just have beer, even though they've been making it for a couple hundred years. They're technically considered the birthplace of the cheeseburger. At least that's under
Uh,
debate.
did not know that.
1935. So I
Are
guess
you
we
a
can.
cheeseburger or a hamburger guy? If you're at a barbecue
Oh,
and someone goes to you, do you want cheese on your burger? Because
oh
that's
yeah.
like the question that everyone
I
gets
don't know why
asked.
that should be a question,
It's
but
yeah, the people that say no, I don't want cheese. I'm just like, "Ugh, I don't know. I have
yeah.
to reconsider our friendship.
I mean, I also like, I don't know if
I
you
guess
are like
if you're kosher, then
well, yeah, you should, yeah, for
you shouldn't
kosher,
be
yeah.
having meat and milk.
Yeah, yeah. To
Go
get
ode to Hanukkah for anyone. Go buy the Hanukkah box.
yeah.
My PSA. But
I
besides
am not
the
kosher.
kosher
Yeah.
individuals,
No, you need that cheese on there. I was even gonna take a step further. If you got bacon that we've been cooking on, throw that bacon. I like to make it just like, but if we're doing classic burger, you gotta have the cheese. And you gotta have it on the grill with the cheese so it melts and like you gotta do it right.
Will you
But
will you cook the bacon on the grill?
no, 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 you have to cook that. You have to
You pre-cook the bacon,
pre-cook
right?
the bacon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't cook it.
I
I've
don't.
tried
I've
it on
never
the
been to
grill.
a barbecue where they have bacon.
Oh,
I
no,
I
yeah,
clearly haven't been to very good barbecues because
yeah.
a barbecue that has bacon, that honestly should be a PSA. Every barbecue
Should have bacon.
should have bacon pre-cooked.
Pre-cooked. Yeah, and you can cook it inside. You can even do it in the oven if you want something quick, just have it, leave it because you're cooking other stuff. No, yeah, you need a little bacon on there. I also like a good or you put this on the grill, slice of ham, and then put that on your burger.
That's good. I put that on my
Yeah.
like on my
Again, if
favorite
you're
list.
kosher, you probably shouldn't do that either.
Yeah,
So
probably not, but
I did
interesting.
also recently find out that, or not recently, but like even the Whopper doesn't automatically come with cheese, which is you have to specify that you need cheese on it, which again feels wrong.
Did not know that.
I I
That's
I know, I know, but and then Jonathan saying like bacon and sometimes an egg for a breakfast burger. Why
oh,
not?
but what people are going to barbecues and getting eggs and bacon on their
Burger,
burger? Because I would like to come to these barbecues because I feel like my barbecues are lame because I've never been offered bacon at
well,
any
yeah,
barbecue or an egg. And I
egg.
think
I feel like
I
eggs.
think if I did that, I would get the most people at my barbecues.
I feel like the egg is an exception. But that's probably just more for like home families, maybe like get together for fun. But I think we really need to like make it normalize having bacon at barbecues. I think this is what we're deciding is that
It
in
should
honor
be standard
it should just be
practice.
standard. And you could cook it on the grill if you really wanted to.
It seems like it would be a huge fire.
Well, yeah. Or
You,
you can get one of the cast iron
yeah,
tops.
that's true. If
Yeah,
you put
yeah,
a
put it
cast
on there.
iron,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah. There you go.
Speaking of like this beer with a burger,
Oh,
you wouldn't think that but it would just cut
it cut right
right
through.
through. It would be so good.
No, this like I am drinking this like Gatorade, which is a problem. Because it's
Well,
almost
Sam
gone.
Adams does uh their 26.2, which is their uh marathon beer,
Oh yeah.
is a Gose. They add the kosher salt to it because again, it has those electrolytes.
You just need that in there. This is really good. Yeah. No, this with like a summertime, we're having a family get together, we're all outside, we're barbecue.
Really
This
good.
is what you want. This is definitely kind of the beer. And also, I mean, if you think about it with like you also don't want anything super high ABV, even though we're getting ready to jump a little bit up here in just a second. But something 4.7% when you're, a mile up in Colorado and Denver. You don't
True.
want something super high ABV. You do want to keep it kind of low if possible, to kind of hit, you're going to get boozed up anyway.
The
Uh,
the yeast ferment faster at higher altitudes. Did you
what
know
is it
that?
really? I did not
Yeah.
know that.
So
All yeasts, no matter whether
I
it's
don't know
what,
if it's all the yeast, but I know that I don't know if it's just ale or lager. I would imagine it's probably just ale yeast that's gonna,
yeah,
because lager yeast just takes longer to ferment in general. But and they're used to colder. I guess that doesn't matter, but it's just the
yeah,
altitude
the
kind
altitude.
of thing that makes the
I
yeast
wonder what happened if you
faster.
threw a Kveik yeast
Oh
up
yeah.
in Colorado because it's already going to ferment in 3 days potentially, but it's probably colder weather, so it's not gonna. So I guess it counteracts itself. Never mind. I answered my own question. But I do feel like, we've been talking about all of this and we've been getting through. I mean, we're already halfway there, Chad, which means it's time for a second beer. which we've been kind of talking about our friends over at Bruz, which we do want to have some of our thoughts with them because they were that we it's that time of year. The weather's going all
They
over,
were the
so
original guest.
they
You
were
had
the
the
original
founders of
guests.
Bruz, and
Fr-
like
Yeah,
the rest of my children's school, half of the people are out sick with the
yeah.
flu. My daughter had the flu last week that then turned into pneumonia.
Ooh,
It's just bad, but she's
yeah.
fine, so that's fine. But it's just I don't even
It's
want to leave
everywhere.
the house. I'm there's just so much flu. It's like one of the worst flu seasons in years.
Yeah, which I would like to say that beer makes it better, but it's not really gonna stop it. But yeah, we
Well,
will still
I feel I'm not getting my office or doing the office tonight. I mean, maybe the dishes will get done, but after this beer, probably nothing's gonna get done.
probably not, especially after, this nice, beautiful Belgian
When
IPA.
was the last time you had a Belgian IPA? I honestly can't tell you.
Christmas
Not a
Eve.
style I usually gravitate toward.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, did we have a Belgian?
No,
No.
no, no, that was myself. It was not, we
Wait,
haven't
you
had one.
drink beer not just for city brew tours? I thought you only drink
I mean, I drink
on
a
the
lot.
show. On
I
this show and during Christmas. But
Yeah,
besides that, you drink
I I
otherwise?
do otherwise, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
no
yeah.
idea.
I mean, mostly beers from this box, but but I drink other beers. Yeah. No, Christmas Eve we have a tradition that we go to a local bar, the 124 Rabbit Club in New York, and they have imported beers.
That's a good beer.
It's good beer.
Bar.
And so I did have one of the mini beers I had that night, was it was the Belgian IPA from Le Chouffe, actually,
I don't
which
know. I don't know if I would get. I don't know if I smelled this beer that I would think it was a Belgian IPA. I don't
get a
get much
little.
spice from. Maybe I would. It's hard because I'm
I mean, you
Floridian.
get it off the taste though. But
I'm sure you get off the taste. Let's find
yeah, the
out.
nose, like I'm getting a little bit of like some of the stone fruit from a Belgian, but not the spice. Just a little like slight
Hmm.
apricot, just a little of an apricot.
Not what I was expecting.
I like
I
it.
mean, I know Colorado makes incredible beer. I know the beer that we select is going to be awesome. So I'm not surprised by it, but it's not overly clovey or spicy
Mm-mm.
that some Belgian styles are known for, which I personally appreciate, making it more drinkable.
I would say it's like that. It's exactly what you would want on paper as a Belgian IPA, where you're getting it's not overtly hoppy, but you get the bite, but it's not overtly hoppy, and it's not overtly Belgian. Because that's what sometimes can actually, when I do tours or I introduce people to Belgian beers, that's the one thing people throws them off is that you have to preface it of it is a Belgian. It's gonna have these specific characteristics, stone fruit, spices. Like you're gonna have that. Just the yeast, it is what it is. Um, but with this one, I feel like
Hmm.
even if you didn't know it was a Belgian IPA, you would still be able to enjoy it. And you'd be
Oh,
like,
that's what I 100% agree. And
yeah,
the booze is pretty hidden,
yeah. I
which
mean,
is just a
dangerous.
testament to them knowing what they're doing.
Yeah. And,
Like,
kind of them just going in fully into that Belgian style. That was one reason why I specifically chose this one. And then the Diablo Colorado is because the Colorado is your classic Belgian Golden Strong, but it's only Colorado ingredients. And so it's just using those local hops, local malts, and just kind of bringing in that history that Colorado has and just kind of again bringing these new styles. Let's see what
why
you
didn't
have
you
here.
get the quad? I would have preferred the quad.
The quad, I I can only
I haven't
choose
had a
two.
quad in so long. So if I was going to drink a beer, I would have liked a quad.
I mean, there's a couple reasons.
When
One, I only
when
had
everyone went. One, I wouldn't let you
One,
probably
one
because
is
it
too
would be very,
expensive.
very
Uh,
expensive.
and two, I can only choose two, and I have to try, that's the fun thing about these boxes, right? Of choosing the beers is it will go a little. I love going behind on how the sausage is made a little bit, and I got you here, so you can correct me or go along with
I'm
it.
I don't know if
Uh,
people know who I am, but because we didn't do an introduction, we probably should. But hi, everyone.
we've had you on
We've
here
had
before.
me on, but there's always new, Jonathan, there's always new
There's
people.
always new people.
Like especially during the holidays, we got a ton of new
That's true.
subscribers.
That's true.
So, but for
This is
everyone who doesn't
Chad.
know who I am, I'm Chad. I'm the founder of City Brew Tours, and started the business back in 2008. And I'm also your Jewish drinking buddy,
Yes, that's true.
Dan. So appreciate that shout out. So
So
again.
yes, this is my boss that's on here that I'm
So
drinking with.
happy to go into how the sausage
Yeah.
is made with
Which,
you.
if anyone is jealous about me just talking to random people and talking to brewers and drinking, I also get to drink with my boss as well. So it's like it is the perfect perk of a job.
It's like,
Uh,
oh, do you want to drink a beer right now? Or the person that we had has the flu now. They just told us
yeah,
10 minutes ago.
yeah,
What?
you,
I
yeah,
mean,
what,
yeah, sure. I
yeah,
get to drink with Jonathan, who's just an
yeah,
awesome
of
individual,
course. And you get to drink some amazing beer too. So
and I
it's
get
a
to drink some
win-win.
amazing beer.
But yeah, that's the kind of the fun thing when I'm choosing these beers and like talking to the brewers is obviously we try to have that diverse box of we want to try and hit that balance of IPAs and crispy beers and those darker beers and have I only get to choose eight. And usually they give me 20 something options. And so you have to pare it down. And so those choices do get kind of like, all right, what did I have, last month? And then what did I have 6 months ago? And so usually when I'm going through the list, I'm very old school with this. And I get all of the inserts out because I can't remember every single beer I've done for the past year and a half now. And I have to lay them out to see what styles we've had and featured
And
and make sure I'm not repeating too much. So we
a
haven't
good
had a
idea.
sour and since I think the last sour we featured on the live stream was actually Hudson Valley.
That was a good beer.
Which a really good beer, really good beer. And then we haven't had a Belgian IPA on there as well, but we recently did have like a golden. We've had some like Belgian Goldens and like regular Belgian ales not too long ago. And so actually last month in New Jersey, we actually had the Belgian. And so it was kind of again kind of playing those balances of I only get to choose two from each brewery, maybe three if something happens. But I also then on top of that, you know, I don't want to repeat styles too much, and so it is it's a fun puzzle of kind of trying to work all that out. So I would have loved to have a quad, but yeah, there's multiple. They are very expensive. The quads are very expensive. But they are. I love a good quad, and I think.
Christmas. I think we had a quad
Christmas,
from
the
last year, 23.
Mad Elf. Mad Elf.
Oh, Mad Elf was a quad, you're right.
Mad Elf is a quad. Although recently I had a really good I mean Omegang always does a really good quad, but I've drank other quads from like Ana Una and those breweries, cherry quads and stuff. But I think the last one we've had we don't get them often because one, they're rare style for people to brew. Because also not just like purchasing, they're an expensive beer to make as
A
well.
lot of sugar. Need a
A
lot of
lot,
sugar for that
lot of
one.
sugar. And it's just a style that I have learned that like again, Belgians are very finicky on if people like them or not in general. And then if you do a quad, as soon as you get into molasses and fig and kind of flavors that people aren't necessarily like familiar with on a regular basis, you really aren't like it's hard to sell. And so a lot of breweries don't have those as like some of their flagships. Um, Bruz is obviously an exception to that rule because they only do Belgian styles.
They have Belgian Chapelles, they have
Yeah,
flops,
that's all they do. Yeah.
they've got it all.
They got the
That's what
yeah,
they're known.
the classic Goldens, and that's also the thing with like the Diablo Colorado is, it is only just a regular Belgian Golden. It is still at 9.5%. So it's not, it's not taking it easy, but it is using those Colorado ingredients. That is a style that you're not gonna get anywhere else. So it is kind of that fun of like, let's get people beer that they're not gonna have styles that might not be your normal choice. Um, but just so we can also have fun and also beers that I do get to be a little bit selfish and do choose beers that I like. But just a little bit.
This beer is actually phenomenal.
No, I'm
I can't
loving this.
believe I'm saying that. No, not from like a Brews perspective, just that a Belgian, as I said, Belgian IPA is not a go-to style, but this is
No,
very well made. Brew's
they
is
are
I mean, they make some awesome beer. This is my first time having this brewery. I've never had
yeah.
brewed before. Um, Maybe once when I was in Colorado, but I honestly can't recall. And this is just phenomenal.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be like, repeat things or be a broken record, but also this one on a barbecue would be I love a good IPA when I'm having a barbecue as
This
well.
is too boozy for me for a barbecue.
I don't know. I like to be a little boozed up when I'm having a barbecue.
True. Depends
I'm
on if
also
you're
at
are you hosting or you're not hosting?
hosting. I usually host. Well,
Okay.
not in New York, but when I wasn't in New York, I would host. If I'm going to, if I'm just joining the barbecue, I'm probably going to bring something a little bit lighter because I know people are probably going to want like a pilsner or a lager because it also depends on how long it is, right? Um, my
This
thought is
would
if,
scare people, probably.
well, yeah, probably.
If you brought this a six pack of this to a barbecue, it's probably gonna be the least drank beer in
Probably.
all the other beer. However, but that's wrong. Just like I judge the book a style by its cover, because
Yeah.
this beer would,
Like
like you said,
this with a
would be
burger or a bratwurst?
this would be so delicious.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
This,
pointing at. If you're pointing at like your keyboard, if you were to eat your keyboard, like this would be
I'm pointing
like.
at the beer. I'm pointing at the beer. My beer is sitting right here. There it is. Um, no, yeah, I would say this with a bratwurst with a little bit of sauerkraut and some mustard. Yeah. Yes. I think we're all there. Um,
But the average person at the barbecue
would not go for this
would
at
not
all.
go for that. They're looking for like your hazy or your pilsners or whatnot, just because it's what they know.
Yeah, they want
Their
something
barbecue, you're
light.
probably not, unless it's like your barbecue where they know that you're like this beer
Yeah.
aficionado. Then they'd be like, all right, I'm gonna trust Jonathan. Like it's just the beer club essentially in real life. So
Yeah, they'd be like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Well, this is what you're drinking. This is what we're gonna have." But I also like to, if I can host, which isn't very often, but like if I can host even like a cook or like just like a dinner, I'm usually just still fall into that education role of, oh hey, no, like understanding everyone's palate that comes over and like this is the food, this is the beer that you want, and this is what you're drinking, and like I kind of play that role. Um, which I can't turn it off. It just
makes
is what
sense.
it is.
It's you
It's
do it
my
all
yeah,
the time,
yeah,
right?
it's what I do for work, for
As a
fun.
tour
Like,
guide, and
yeah,
if you
you
haven't been
I
on a tour, shout out. If you want to see Jonathan in person, go check out City Brew Tours NYC, and you'll be able to see him. It'll be a beer club, but in person. Just
yeah.
like your mind will be blown. You can
Not
even
only
get an
is
autograph, but that's extra.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It depends on the tip. You know. But yeah, no. And that's the fun thing is too, is like with New York and kind of experimenting with those different styles, trying things, introducing people to like those Belgians or Gozas or styles that, people are like, "Oh, I would never have chosen that." I'm like, I know. That's why we're drinking it right now. Like you might not choose like a smoked lager or something
Oh,
that's
love,
like, which I love a good
love a
smoked lager.
smoked
Oh,
lager. That's another
yeah.
favorite style.
Which is another hard one to find for like I don't get them in the
Not
boxes
like
often,
commercially at local
not
breweries.
commercially.
There's like a very few breweries that are probably doing that.
Yeah.
You can get something from German, like a Rausch,
Yeah, you
like
can get a
German.
Rausch beer from Eichstingen. I
Yeah.
can never say their name right, but
Thank you.
yeah, well, we're not
But
gonna.
Jonathan, you're so close. Connecticut? It's not like you're in like Idaho. That's like take the
Skedet?
Metro North
Yeah,
and you'll be in there for a day. Make it a staycation.
yeah. No, I mean Connecticut. Yeah, you, couple hours. It's easy.
I,
Take the
that
train.
depends
Yeah.
on where you are in Connecticut. You could be if you're on like Westchester border,
Oh
you're an
yeah,
hour. You're less than an hour
yeah. Actually, some people can
from
get to Connecticut faster than I can get to Manhattan, which is really sad, but
it's
it is
crazy.
true. It is a true thing. But yeah, you don't see a lot of U.S. Rausch beers
Have we done a Rausch
distributed.
beer? That might
We
be a challenge. I don't think we have.
maybe that's the goal for 2025. 2025. I'd have to look through everything to see if I've done any type of smoked beer. I don't think so. No, no, nope, that was a different box.
Dan likes the challenge. Dan, we're doing it
I
for you.
Yeah, Dan,
Dan, you're the one who's gonna benefit the most. People might not like it, but we know Dan, you'll like it.
will
So
know
that's
Dan
the
will
most
like it,
important.
and
And I
I
know
I
I'll like it, and we know Jonathan will like
and I'm
it.
gonna like,
So
yeah, we're all gonna the important people are gonna like it. But
there's
again,
gonna be
that's
what's it called? Like in I know we've done Pittsburgh twice already, but their beer's awesome. I know like 11th hour. Anyone that's doing the fancy, I can't think of the name of it, where they take the rock that's been on the fire for X amount of time. You know what I'm talking about? What's
oh
the
yeah,
name?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
that beer? It's not really a smoked beer. It's because it's not using like Rauch malt. Like it doesn't have the same
I know what you're
flavor
talking. I don't
profile.
remember the name of it.
I don't know the name of it. If someone
We'll figure it out.
we need like chat. We need AI. We need like an AI like
Just
co-host
listening to us. Yeah,
co-host that can just chime in. That would be maybe that's something that we should
that's what we'll do for the for
add.
next. We'll add
If
that
next
in.
time a guest doesn't show up, we'll have just ChatGPT, and we'll just ask questions to ChatGPT about beer.
Yeah. What could go wrong with that? Nothing could go wrong. I
I have my daughter like asking my daughter's 5 asking ChatGPT all these different like because it's like voice as opposed to like typing.
oh yeah, yeah, no.
That's a rabbit hole you don't have to go down.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I do use that sometimes though for things of just like I can't I can't type this
That's
thing.
your challenge.
We're gonna get a smoked beer in
We need a
2025.
2025 has a smoked
I
smoked
will I
beer. I mean, you just need to
will
find a German. You just need to find a brewery that where Bruz is Belgian, classic Belgian styles. We just
German
need
styles,
a
Belgian.
German
I mean a
style
good smell.
brewery.
A lot of American breweries do smoked Helles, which is also it's not the same.
It's not a Rausch
No,
beer. It's
no,
not
it's not
like
a
using
Rausch
beech
beer.
wood, that bacony. Oh, if
I
you don't
thought,
have bacon at your barbecue,
then
you
get a
just
Rausch
have
beer.
just being a Rausch beer.
Which one of my favorite stories about Rausch beers I always love to tell, and I tell it like on tours. I may have told it on the live stream. I have no idea. I'm also 7.5% beer in, so it is what it is.
These things just go off the rail like 45
Oh,
minutes in
eventually, yeah, an
because
hour
we just
in,
drank 2 beers and I
yeah,
can't tell you
it's
the last time I drank 2 beers within
an
that short
hour.
time
Yeah.
within less than an hour.
Yeah, this is
College.
why it gets very exciting in the last 20 minutes of the podcast. But one time I actually had one of the Rausch beers. It was the specifically it was the Rausch Marzen from Ike. We know who we're talking about. Ike Stein, whatever. Stinger. Anyway, I popped it open because it's a it's a Grolsch beer. So there it is, Shinkerla. Ike Shinkerla. Um, but I just popped open the Grolsch lid, and as soon as I did and poured it into my glass, my wife came over and was like, "Did you cook bacon?" I was like, "No." Like it's such a strong, especially their Marzen is such a strong, like smoky, meaty smell that it actually does smell just like you cooked bacon in an apartment. Which is fantastic if that's what you like. And if that's not what you like, that's what we're aiming for this year. M- I'm gonna allow myself within the monthly boxes and the Christmas box. So just so I get a
Christmas
little
box
bit,
should be, you should be able to do that easy,
yeah, because
no
I got 12
problem. But
options. But
it's all going to
within,
be depending on the city or the state that we're in,
yeah,
what's available. Like there, that state or city might not have
a Rausch beer for
a
that
Rausch beer we
month.
want or we want to focus on because it might not be that good.
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah.
to.
And again, I only get 8 beers for every city
Eight
or
beers and two brewery, 2 to 3 per
yeah, like
brewery, or
it's hard to
one to
choose
three
from.
per brewery.
I will say there are some of the looking at some of the potential places to come, um, there may be a possibility if some of them do Roush beers and do other things. But again, like no one, some breweries might not do that all year round. So that's why it's hard to always kind of anticipate. Just like I love a really, really good Mexican lager. A Mexican style lager, fantastic. Get a little lime in there, it's great. But
You have a favorite?
so I go
Is it
back and
like a mass
forth.
produced one or is it
So one of them is mass
a
produced, semi-mass produced, and the other one is local. So Stone, actually, to call back in the beginning of the episode, so Stone does their was it the Buena Vista. Um, it's a Mexican lime lager. It is Buena Vista. It is so good. It's nice. It's light, citrus. It's fantastic. The other one is actually local to New York, which is Big Alice does their pontoon party, and it's a Mexican style lager, also brewed with lime. It's very strong on the citrus. It's very limey, but it's just so refreshing and just nice and light and easy. Do you have a go-to Mexican style lager
not that I could think of off the
or any light Vienna lager? Because that's what it is.
I mean and I mean you wouldn't say Negro Modelo is a Mexican lager because it's not like light, but a Negro Modelo is
Oh, Negro Modelo's.
that's
That?
that is the quintessential like
Yeah.
Vienna lager right there.
Yeah, no, I will say Negro Modelo or
But I would that's not
Bohemia.
the same as like a light Mexican lager.
No, no, no. Those are two different. Yeah, yeah. So
Completely different.
you have the Claras, you have the Obscuras. Like obviously, yeah, they're. But if you are going a little bit darker, then yeah, the Negro Modelo is the
We
same as like
I think
Yingling.
2 years ago, it was probably during the pandemic, we actually did a collaboration where I don't know, do you remember the Mexican, I don't, we did a Mexican, we brought in like
Oh
Mexican
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
brewers.
for the Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo event. Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was
and we
back in
brought
the
in the
day where we,
brewers from Mexico. Yeah,
from
yeah.
Mexico and we sourced their beer and that was super cool. And we definitely had some Mexican lagers during that event
And
that
there's even
I remember being like on point.
yeah, no, there's
Can't
like I've
remember
had
the name though.
actual when I was working down in Mexico pretty regularly, like I'd had some local Mexican style lagers. and those were actually just Mexican lagers as well. Like they were like right using local ingredients, fresh ingredients, right, just excellent quality beers. Same with like, I've also had there's a new local brewery that's starting up here in New York that she's from Mexico starting it, and it's all woman owned, brand new, and she's
What's it
starting
called?
with a Miluna,
Mhm.
my moon, but Miluna Brewing, and so she's partnered right now doing contract brewing with KCBC, which we've featured as well in the past.
You
And
featured a lot
so
of breweries.
yeah, we've yeah. I mean, if I say a brewery, we've probably featured them. But like she's working doing contract brewing with them, putting it on draft there, but starting her own space and using again shipping in those ingredients from Mexico, just like we would like a German lager or like a Belgian, kind of sticking to those roots, but bringing it to New York as well, which is really cool. Which I know we've been all over the country on this episode, not just Colorado. But I think that's
But
kind of the
Colorado has so much. They represent all different styles
yeah. Well, and
of
I
beer. I
feel
mean,
like
they are like the go-to. Where's the Brewers Association's headquarters?
Colorado, yeah, yeah,
Colorado, right?
yeah.
It's like
And
they
the Great American Beer
their
Fest. So
GABF
every
is
brewery,
there.
yeah,
They do. I mean, I've been to Colorado when the craft brewers conference, which is the largest craft brewery conference in the country, where pretty much every brewery comes in with some owner, founder,
yeah,
brewers to do a multi-day learning. That Colorado is a go-to place for them for that. So I mean, and you have people from internationally coming for those conferences too.
yeah, yeah,
Mexico, I met Mexican brewers that were coming in and from Venezuela and from um, Honduras coming in to
yeah,
go to this conference to understand. Because like for craft beer in the US, it's kind of we've been doing it for over more than almost 2 decades, right? This craft
right.
beer revolution's happened. But in Honduras, in Mexico, in other Central American
It's
countries and
much, much
whatnot,
younger.
this is cutting edge stuff that
Yeah,
you're seeing this craft beer their craft beer revolution's happening now.
yeah.
Like
Well, and that's,
they're in 2012 right now.
yeah.
When Boston was like just starting its brew tour business, which is
Well,
just
yeah,
to think about.
even, Colorado, like Oscar Blues has been around for going on almost 30 years now, so like
It
these
was so
breweries,
fun to drink a Dale's Pale Ale. I haven't had
it's,
a
it's just
Dale's
a good
Pale
beer.
in so long, and they had like 19.2s. Who do
Yeah,
we have to who do we have to thank for that?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
Oscar Blues. Like they and like they've been like cutting edge on like the packaging side that
yeah,
breweries have just like saw what they were doing and just copied them, and now 19.2s are kind of commonplace and they're still growing. And same thing with the 16-ounce cans. Remember when
yeah.
16-ounce cans weren't a thing?
Yeah, and it was either 12-ounce cans or 12-ounce bottles, and then as soon as 16-ounce, you're like, wait, this is an option? Like we can do this? We can
And
do four 16-ounce and not six
and
12
wasn't I
ounce?
think Dale's was one of like they were really early on with the can too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
were like one of the
So
first canned beer, I feel like, if
as
I'm
as definitely in craft beer for
in craft
sure.
beer. Yeah,
Because
not like they were like not doing the bottles
yeah, they
and
were
then they
doing
moved
pretty
to
much just
can.
cans. Because to get down a rabbit hole, I luckily one of my online events that I did, I actually had the niece of the gentleman that pioneered the canning technology for beer cans,
Wow.
which is totally random. But I was like, I'm taking an opportunity here, and like I'm taking advantage of this of this person. But basically, pre 1970s, there was degradable lining inside cans, which is why everyone, for the longest time, even to today, people say like don't use cans because it's gonna affect the flavor because it's gonna degrade the quality of the ingredients, and that's because in before I think it was 1977. Don't quote me on that, but it's like between 75 and 77 and the lining would degrade. So then this gentleman, he actually created the non-degradable lining, which is what we have in all of our all cans, sodas, beer, everything. He created that lining and that technology. So then that's why you saw canning after 19 starting in the 1980s and when craft beer really started to pick up is because we could actually can and it wouldn't affect the flavor and the qualities of the beer. And then early 1990s, 1996, 1997, when you start seeing Brooklyn Brewing and Dale's and Oscar Blues, and then you start seeing Anchor and Sierra Nevada and all of those kind of coming out. And that's when canning was actually really became more common in the 1990s. Also, we started to get away from wooden brewing and back into metal commercial brewing and so forth. Um, you know, because this is stuff that we want to know about. But that's where, yeah, definitely start with those 12-ounce cans because that was also when you think of that's what all sodas were in. So if sodas were in 12 ounce, let's keep the beer in there because then we don't need to make extra cans. But then as the technology became more, available, and then now we can go to the 16, the 19, and go through there as well. And now we have the little what are those, the eight
Mini
ounce,
ones.
the 8.4, something like that
I just looked. Dale's was the first to put craft beer in
in
a
16.
can in 2002.
That's really that late.
Yeah,
That's only 23 years ago. That's not that long ago.
but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the other thing is that we don't realize that there's so many breweries, right? And like Colorado, there's so much beer there. And it's such ingrained in the culture and like and not just Colorado, but all over New York, Boston, California, everywhere. Beer is literally everywhere. But we don't realize that 23 years ago, they didn't put beer in cans. Like that's not that long ago.
And then the 19.2 Dale's
It was the
created
first.
for concerts and for stadium and convenience stores.
What year was
So
that?
like that was I don't know. It's probably, I would imagine it's recent because
Right
I
around,
feel like
yeah,
19.2s are
10
still
years tops.
was is still like very 2012.
Yeah, so 10 years. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so
So
13 years.
that's surprising, but it's taking on like a life of its own. 19.2s now. I feel like Fiddlehead has 19.2s that are like
Everyone, yeah.
are crushing it. So
Yeah, if you
Dale has
go,
been at the cutting edge of packaging since the beginning and up until now. And
yeah.
so
And I feel like they kind of, not that,
they're like craft beer history, if you
yeah.
will.
And I feel like they almost kind of, like a lot of, if you go into like stories and like movies of like original, like people are always like, oh, that's just like this, or that's not new. Star Wars, anytime you do anything space, right? Everyone's going to compare it to Star Wars. But then if you had never seen Star Wars and then you watch it, like, oh, that's like Endgame or whatever, right? And so I think with like Dale's and like with Oscar Blues, some people be like, oh, that's a boring beer. Like it's just a simple pale ale, but they started it. Like they're the original. So it's
They
like,
help popularize craft beer, like
yeah.
they help create the can that has become commonplace.
So
I
like
mean,
sometimes we need to respect, I don't want to
and
say
so
the term
sometimes you might get
forefathers.
a beer in the box that you would be like, well, why did we get this beer? And these are the reasons why.
Yeah. it might seem simple, it might seem old, it might seem basic, but there's nothing basic about a Dale's Pale Ale. It is, it has a legacy to it, you know. I mean, we wouldn't be able to have the left-hand milk stout or the, you know, the Bruz 16 ounce in these cans if it wasn't for, you know, Dale's or for Oscar Blues 30 years ago. So it's kind of fun. There's a lot of history in this box. I didn't realize that until now that we're talking about it. Like
Same
we've
thing with
got,
the nitro. If you think about what beer was the first to ever be for craft beer to be on nitro in a can, what is it?
I mean, everyone's gonna say Guinness, but that's not right.
Oh, I guess besides, I'm talking about
Guinness.
craft beer. I don't put Guinness
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say that.
in a craft beer category.
I mean, I'm gonna either say left hand or dragon's milk. Those are gonna be the two.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Dragon's Milk, but I would say,
Left hand, mostly.
I don't think I've ever had Dragon's Milk.
You've never had dragon's milk?
No.
It's really
What,
boozy.
what brewery is it?
That
This
is
is where your expertise
I
trumps
know.
I know beer from like a decade ago, and
New
my beer
Holland, New
knowledge
Holland,
of
New Holland.
New Holland.
Yeah,
I
New
haven't tasted
Holland Brewery. I mean, and it's like almost entirely just milk stouts is all they do. Um, so that's, but they're also very limited distribution. So like they don't go to, and I know that especially like in the Boston area, that's it's a little weird that of getting stuff there.
If this is
Uh,
true, it says Left Hand was the first to bottle a nitrogenated craft beer in 2011
See, again,
and a
that's
nitrogenated beer without a widget.
so that's the thing is that I know they don't use the widget as well. Yeah, because it is also it is patented by Guinness, unfortunately.
The widget is
Yeah.
patented by Guinness.
Hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I know
Learn something
Murphy's will
new.
use it, but I think most their specific version is patented, which is why a lot of craft brew beers you won't see the widget. It's going to be a non-widgeted beer. That's nothing I thought I would say before. Let me see, and then we got, but 2000, you said 2011? That
Yeah.
was the first nitro canned beer.
No, first bottle.
Oh, bottled. Well, yeah, you don't. Yeah, yeah.
Before 2000, nitrogenated beers were mostly available on drafter and widget cans.
But so the first non-widget can was 2011. All right. So there you go. Again, more history that were thrown at you in this box from Colorado.
But I'm
The
still blown away by that peanut butter.
it's so
I mean, it's just, it was
so
my
this is what
favorite
I love to
beer.
do with peanut butter milk stouts in general, but this one especially. I'm a huge fan of beer floats in the summer. And you do this one with a really nice like vanilla bean, and you do that with the peanut butter milk stout, you're welcome. Anyone listening, you're welcome. But it's just that's also my go-to for a lot of like in the
Oh, you've done
summertime.
that. Have you done a vanilla, or
Yeah.
just you haven't done with this beer, but you've done a peanut butter milk stout with
Yeah.
ice cream, vanilla
Yes.
bean ice cream.
Yes.
Any type of specific ice cream?
I want to get I usually
Is
try
it
to
like a Ben
get
and Jerry's? Are we using like
no, 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 no.
Friars? Are we using
Usually
Van Leeuwen's, something low like
so I've done it multiple ways. So I've done with like Briars or Edie's, but I try to get like the as minimal ingredient ones as possible. That like when they do their special like three ingredients.
yeah.
Because I don't need all that other stuff. So and those are also usually less sweet. So I try to get a less sweet vanilla. That's why I usually go for vanilla bean over like a French vanilla or a generic vanilla. There's also I've done coconut milk stouts with a coconut ice cream, and that is really good because that's just builds on itself. Because those are also going to have that nuttiness of the coconut ice cream, so then that's going to help not be as sweet as well. Um, And yeah, so I mean, Jonathan's also been curious about those milk stouts or doing beer floats. What I will say for anyone wanting to do a beer float, and this is goes with
Make
basic
make your own
pairing.
ice cream, Jonathan.
I do make my own ice cream, and yes, I can control the sweetness with it. And yes, we also do that at our sister company, Unbox Experiences. We do ice cream float experiences. Just a
If you're
little
looking for a
plug.
fun corporate outing,
Uh,
we can do an ice cream beer float with you guys.
yeah, why not? We'll do that.
Should we just have an add-on
Just an
maybe
add-on for
for
a milk
a beer
stout,
club? Like they can choose to get the ice cream float
and just
beer.
yeah,
That's
I
actually
feel
a pretty cool
I feel
idea.
like that should be an add-on of
John, would you guys let in the chat, would you want a add-on to be able to do you get I don't know how many beers? We'll get root beer, but we can get regular beer.
yeah, we can get
Um,
regular beer.
yeah, we'll get regular beer.
We'll do a milk stout.
Give them three beers and make our own ice cream.
Yeah,
Well,
shake it up.
shake
Yeah,
things
mix it
up.
up. We'll see what happens.
That'd
Yeah.
be a
The
fun thing. Add some food components. Maybe we'll throw the charcuterie board in
Yeah,
too.
why? Yeah, a little cheese, little meat. Again, we were talking we wanted bacon, so smoked sausage, summer sausage with these beers. There you go.
We haven't
Ooh, a
done it.
nice smoked Gouda with this IPA. That's gonna,
We haven't done it. It's
yeah,
always worth trying to do a specialty
a
maybe
specialty boss.
maybe a quarterly beer and food experiences.
Yeah. So this is what I want to say for all of our regular listeners. When we get two beers into the CEO of the company, we come up with new ideas that you guys get to benefit from. So
You
you
get to
guys are
dictate what
welcome.
happens next.
Yes, we get to see what happens. You never know what's going to happen here at City Brew Tours Beer Club when we get a couple beers in. But I was going to say, with for anyone interested in doing like a beer float, though, the one rule that I always have for myself, and this goes with all pairings, is to make sure that your beer is as sweet as your ice cream, and vice versa. So you don't want an overly sweet ice cream or an underly like a super dry stout. You want to make sure that that sweetness matches. So then you're not taking away the natural sweetness of the beer. Which is why like the peanut butter stout works so well with a really nice like semi-sweet vanilla ice cream or like a coconut with a coconut border, things like that. That's my only advice. Also, you can mix things up, and I've done this, like a lemon sherbet with a Hefeweizen is actually really, really good.
You've done a
Uh,
sour
what's
yet?
that?
You've done a sour float, like if you did the Gose.
Yeah. Oh, this goes with a lime sherbet. Yeah. Yes. Yes. You
Sorry.
can do anything. Again, you can mix anything. Everyone's palate is valid. Nothing is off limits. It's all fair. Nothing's off the table. Um, which is why, again, there's so many different beers, so many different breweries, and have been around for so long to try new things. But I think unless you have anything to add, Chad, we actually have made it an hour drinking together,
I mean,
talking about,
it's flown by.
I know, but literally
It's
we've talked
delicious
about
beer.
everything. Um, any last minute words of wisdom before we say goodbye to Colorado Box and hello to our new
Arizona.
cities to come.
Um, no, I think you're just crushing these beer selections, sir.
Right. We're
And
gonna keep, I'm
keep
trying.
up I'm really hands off on the beer selection, guys. So you're getting the best beer from Jonathan. So I think
And
this
I will
has to
always say, if you guys do have selections or suggestions or things that you would like to see, never hesitate to ask because I always like to kind of work with our subscribers and our customers to kind of try and get things styles that maybe you wouldn't have chosen or things that you are looking for. I'm gonna do my best on that Rausch beer. I can't make any promises. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna
Happen.
try. Uh,
We'll make it happen. When
we'll
we put
make
our
it happen.
mind to something at City Brew Tour,
Yeah.
it's gonna get
Uh, maybe the Christmas box. That seems like the easiest, but we still we're only in February, so we got 10 more boxes to come. So, that's 80 beers. So a lot can
who knows
happen.
what's next. We might have food boxes, we might have new product.
Right. We might
More
be
the more
making
beer you get
floats
into me,
together.
you never know what's gonna
Might
happen.
send you guys a burger with cheese, and there everything is
Just
on the
send
table.
people raw meat
Yeah.
instead of the beer. It's like, oops, you guys said you wanted burgers.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Here's a porterhouse on us. Why not?
Jonathan
Uh
only wants variety, so that's variety is the spice of life, Jonathan. So
and
I
that's I
completely
can
agree. We're never gonna do just a straight up IPA
no.
box. People might want that, but that's not what City Brew Tour's ethos is. It's all about trying new beers, expanding your palate, exploring
Yeah.
an area through the bottom of a drinking glass. So
Yeah.
that's what we're all about.
And we're just going to keep on bringing new styles, new breweries, hopefully new breweries to you guys. Some that are young, some that are old, and just keep having fun. That's the main thing. We just have to have fun.
Yeah.
And with that, I feel like we've had fun. We've had our fun. We've had our beer. And so until next month, we'll see everyone. And if you are a new subscriber, if you're a new person and you're like, I do want these beers. I want a new Roush beer. I want all of this fun stuff you talk about. Go to shop.citybrewtours.com, get your box, share it with friends as well. Get some friends on here. We can have fun. And we'll see you guys next month with more fantastic beer and from a new city. And we'll see you guys then. Chad, thank you so much for jumping on. And we'll have a beer together soon.
Yes, indeed. Thanks,
All
Jonathan.
right.
Have a
Cheers,
good night, everyone.
everybody. All
Bye.
right. See you guys.